In this video, I'll cover how to work with text and doing basic text editing and formatting in Photoshop. I'm using Photoshop CS5. Other versions of Photoshop will have very similar tools, and they will usually be located in the same places. There may just be some more features that you may not see on the version that I'm using. First thing I'm going to do is create a new object to work with, and I'm going to create this to be a 1000 by 1000 pixel and 300 dpi image resolution. That will usually give you a printable quality. You could go say 600 and it will be very fine resolution. If you're just working with it on the screen, you can make your DPI or your resolution anywhere from 75 to 100 pixels is fine, and that keeps your file size down if you do not want to print it. So now we end up with a blank canvas, and actually this canvas is not blank. It has one layer, which is white, and over here on the layer panel, if I hide that, it will disappear and you'll see a kind of a checkerboard pattern background. Because it is locked, you see this locked, I cannot do that. So if I right click on it and say layer from background and click OK, it becomes a layer that I can work with. And if I hide it, you see that checkered background, which means there is nothing present, and now there is one layer present. So the first thing I'm going to do is insert some text, and I'm going to change my color to red. And I'll click the text tool and click here, and I'll adjust the height to 100 pixels tall, and we'll type in the month. And now you see that I have separate layers, and I can reorder those layers as well. And now up in the top right, I have a text editing panel. If you don't see that text editing panel, if you click on your text tool and go back to where you're editing your text, you will see some tools appear up here, and you can click this button to make your panel appear. So what I can do with that text layer selected, I can make changes to this, including changing the font. I use this a lot to just simply see what various fonts look like. I'll just scroll down through them with my arrow key, and if the font has variations such as bold and italics, you'll be able to select that here as well. And we can change the size of our font, and we can also just type in the size that we want. We can control the amount of space if we have multiple lines, so we'll add a second line to this. So if we want to control the amount of space in our lines relative to our font, you can also adjust the kerning of the font. So if you click your editing tool and put your cursor there, you can adjust how much space is between each of the letters. That can be useful if you're doing something like curving your text, and sometimes if you put it on a curve, it will scrunch together part of the letters. You can also adjust the height and width percentage. By default, your letters are normally at 100% tall, 100% wide based on the font point size. For example, if I wanted this April and 2015 to be the exact same width, I can grab my ruler and drag it over, and it will give me some guidelines to work by. Likewise, I can use the horizontal ruler as well. But as you can see, April and 2015 are not the same width. And if I wanted to block those and make them the same width, I could do it a couple of ways. One, I could adjust the kerning probably on 2015 and decrease the space here. I could also use this as two separate text objects. So if I insert this as a totally separate layer, and now my April and 2015 is separate over here in my layers panel, I can adjust the width of one of these. So if I go down to 95%, it's not quite small enough, and you can see at 93%, that made both sections the exact same width. That's very handy for things like logo work where you need to make two different words of different lengths and fonts the same width or the same height or something like that. This is similar to the spacing between the lines. This allows you to adjust up or down. So if I were to enter a value there, it will move my letters up based on the number of pixels that I choose. And then I can adjust the color as well of a particular layer, font layer. Then here we can do some things such as faux bold the type. We can faux italicize the type. We can change the type to all uppercase, or we can do this where it makes it all uppercase with the first letter larger. We can turn it into subscript and superscript. And we can underline and we can do a strike through as well. Hopefully my video has been helpful to you. If it has been, please subscribe to my channel, and by all means, please share my videos.